Geronimo Stilton, Valentine's Day Disaster. Read by Hosea Tonko. Dear rodent friends, here it is, another whisker-looking good tale just for you. From your friend, Geronimo Stilton. This story is one of my all-time favorite holidays about Valentine's Day. Yeah, I guess I'm just a sappy boy at heart. I love all the mushy stuff like hearts and flowers and cream cheese pastries. Read on to learn all about the story of Valentine's Day. The party, the best party yet, cheesecake. It was February 13th, and I was so excited. The next day was Valentine's Day. Do you like Valentine's Day? I do. Every year I throw a big party for all my friends, and this year was going to the best one yet. How did Valentine's Day begin? February 14th is dedicated to all the people who love one another. Friends, families, parents, and sweethearts. It's a special occasion to express our feelings by giving a gift of chocolate, a poem, a flower, or a smile. It's a very old holiday. On February 14th, the ancient Romans celebrated the goddess Juno, wife of the god Jupiter, and the protector of the women and married couples. On February 15th, the feast of Lupercia was celebrated in honor of the god Lupercal, the arrival of spring and the fertility of the earth and animals. In the 5th century AD, these feasts were both abolished, and February 14 became the day of Saint Valentine, the patron saint of lovers. The story of Valentine. Valentine was the bishop of Terni, Italy. He was imprisoned and then beheaded by the Roman Emperor Claudius II in AD 269. There are many stories in Valentine's life that show why he became the patron saint of people who love one another. This is one of them. After school, many children went to play in Valentine's garden. One day, Valentine heard a young couple arguing. He gave them a beautiful rose and prayed that their love would be eternal. The two made up immediately and asked Valentine to officiate their wedding. I sent out much more than 100 invitations to my special friends and relatives. I decorated my house with red streamers. I had ordered a heart-shaped cheesecake from Squeakini's, the best bakery in the city. I had even hired a band. That night, I went to bed with a smile on my snout. I dreamed I was nibbling cheesecake at my perfectly planned, perfectly organized, fabulous Valentine's party. I am so happy. I am so happy. 10 a.m. I forgot to set the alarm clock. I woke up lazily the next morning. The sun was already shining outside. Oh, what a perfect day for my Valentine's Day party, I said, yawning. Then I spotted the clock. It was already 10 o'clock. Rats, I shrieked, jumping out of the bed. I was so busy planning my party, I had forgotten to set my alarm clock. Now I was late for work. Here's something you should know about running in the bathroom. Don't do it. The bathroom is a dangerous place. First, I stepped on a wet bar of soap. I flipped into the air and skidded across the room on the rug. I landed snout down in a tube full of water. Where I stood up, had a rubber ducky on my head, and was spitting water like a fountain on a head on a high speed. Then I tried to pull the stopper out of the tube, and my tail got sucked into the drain. Youch! I squeaked at the top of my lungs. I'm too fond of my tail. I wrapped my tail in a bandage. Then I dragged myself out the door, sobbing. 11 a.m. The mailbox is empty. It was 11 o'clock by the time I left the house. On the way out, I checked my mailbox. Maybe a big stack of Valentines would cheer me up. After all, I had lots of friends, but I knew I would get lots of cards. But the mailbox was empty. What was going on? I was so upset I closed my mailbox on my paw. Youch, I shrieked. I wrapped up my paw in a bandage. Oh, what else could go wrong today? 12 p.m. The newspaper was not delivered. I ran to the office. Oops, I almost forgot to tell you. I run a newspaper. It is called the Rodent Gazette. It is the most popular paper in New Mouse City. Usually I loved going to the office, but today something strange was happening. A mountain of newspapers piled up in front of the building. At that moment, a truck unloaded a huge stack of newspapers right on top of my head. Youch! I yelled from under the pile. I wondered if I could be sued for permanent headache. That's when I heard a familiar voice from the building next door. Ha ha, Geronimo Stilton. You're such a mess of a mouse, it cackled. It was Sally Rattermousen, leaning out of her office window. Sally is my #1 enemy. She runs a terrible paper called Daily Rat. Her office stands directly across the Rodent's Gazette. How do you like my Valentine's Day gift, Stilton? Sally went on. Last night I bought the News Express. Then she slammed the window shut. Noise. Slam. My fur stood on end. Rat-munching rattlesnakes. This was a disaster. The News Express is the company that delivers my papers to rodents all over Mouse Island. Sally must have told them to stop delivering the Rodent's Gazette. I found a mouse-sized headache coming on. Oh, what else could go wrong today? I put a bandage over the big lump on my head. I took out my cell phone and called the News Express. Hello, this is Stilton. Geronimo Stilton, I'm the publisher of the Rollins Gazette, I began. A gruff voice at the end interrupted. The Rollins Gazette? We don't deliver it anymore, he hollered. The next thing I knew, I was listening to a dial tone. I twisted my tails up in knots. This was serious. The News Express was the only company big enough to deliver newspapers to all of Mouse Island. There was only one thing left to do. I called Sally. I spoke in the sweetest squeak. I'm Sally. Can't we just be friends? I tried. After all, we both work in the same business. Sally let out an evil laugh. Of course we both work in the same business. That's why I want to put you out of business. If no one delivers your papers, the Rollins on New Mouse City will be forced to read the only paper left. Mine, she cackled. The next thing I knew, I was listening to a dial tone. Oh, why did Sally hate me so much? I never did anything to hurt her. Well, there was that one time I pushed her into a thorn bush. But it was an accident. I tripped, really. You can't hate a mouse for being clumsy, can you? 1 p.m. The office is deserted. It was 1 o'clock. I stumbled up the stairs to the Rollins Gazette and bursted through the door. I need everyone's help. It's an emergency, I yelled. No one answered. I looked around. The office was empty. What was going on? A cold shiver ran down my fur. Was everyone sick from a deadly flu? Did they get run over by a bus? Did a pack of scary mouse aliens whisk them in a spaceship? Just then I remembered something. I had given all my employees a day off for Valentine's Day. For a minute I was relieved. Then I remembered all the undelivered papers. So what did I do next? I did what any smart, sensitive, responsible mouse would do. I put my snout down on my desk and cried, enough tears to fill an ocean. Maybe not a whole ocean, maybe just a small lake or a stream, or a teeny tiny cup. Still, you get the picture. I was depressed. This was the worst Valentine's Day ever. I left the office with my tail between my legs and head hung low. That's when I tripped. I tumbled down the stairs. Oh, what else could go wrong today? Why am I such an unlucky mouse? I said, sighing. It's Valentine's Day, a gentle voice answered me. There is no such thing as bad luck, it said. I shook my head. Cheese niblets, was I hearing a voice? We each made our own luck, the voice continued. I broke out in a sweat. I was ready to check myself into the Mad Mouse Center when I saw her. She was charming rodent with light blue eyes and a blonde fur. She was dressed like a cow mouse in a white leather. Around her waist, she wore a belt, the silver heart-shaped buckled. A wide-rimmed cow mouse hat was perched on top of her head. Spiffy boots adorned her feet. Hello, my name is Cheesy Lao Sweet Snout, she said. I shook a paw. Pleased to meet you, Miss Sweet Snout. My name is Stilton. Geronimo Stilton, I grumbled. The cow mouse grinned. Seems to me you have a problem, Jerry dear, she said. Why don't you tell Cheesy Lao about it? Now, normally, I don't like it when rodents call me Jerry, and I don't like telling other mice about my problems, but Cheesy Lao had such a sweet smile. Before I knew, I was pouring my whole sad story to her. She listened carefully, then she handed me a lace handkerchief dotted with red hearts, saying sweetly, Don't worry, Jerry. Every problem has a solution. 2 p.m. Every problem has a solution. I glanced at my watch. It was 2 o'clock, half the day gone, and the Rollins Gazette was still undelivered. I began to nibble my whiskers. Cheesy Lao calmly patted my paw. She flipped open her cell phone, then she began backing orders into it. Hello, is this Horsey Ranch? I heard her say. I need 100 horses and 100 cow mice sent to 17 Swiss Cheese Center immediately. She hung up with a sigh of satisfaction. Problem solved, Jerry, she said. A little later, we heard the sound of hoofs galloping down the street. Cheesy Lao stuck her snout out the window. Listen up, rodent, she squeaked. I need you to deliver these copies of the Rollins Gazette on the double. The cow mice waved their hats in the air. We're on it, Cheesy Lao, they called. They took off a thundering gallop. Their noise was so loud I could barely hear my own squeak. Do you really think they can do it? I asked Cheesy Lao. She was calmly filling her nails. But of course, Jerry, darling. You should try to think more positively, she drawled. Here's a little saying my grandmother, Cherry Cheeks, taught me. Now repeat after me. Life is beautiful, the world is marvelous. I love everyone. I tried. Life is beautiful, the world is maddening, and I love almost everyone. I stammered. I guess I have to work on it. I opened my notebook and jotted down the phrase Cheesy Lao had taught me so that I could practice. I thanked Miss Sweet Snout for all her help. Then I invited her to Valentine's Day party. Wow, tickle me with a cat for a feather, she cried. I'd love to attend your hold down. I'll bring my fiancé, Tall Rat McBeefy. She took out a picture of a very, very muscular mouse and kissed it. 3 p.m. A wave of foul-smelling water. It was already 3 o'clock. I walked home with Cheesy Lao by my side. Are you sure you don't need my help anymore, Jerry? She asked. We had reached my house at Mouseford Lane. I smiled as I opened my front door. "Oh no, Miss Sweetsnout, I'm sure, but thanks for the offer," I started to say, but before I could finish, a wave of foul smelling water hit me. "Help, blub, blub, help!" I gurgled. When the wave passed, I was soaked from the ends of my whiskers to the tip of my tail. I looked around in horror. What a disaster! The sewer pipe must have burst my house. What a mess! The rugs and sofas were soaping wet. Even the walls were dripping, and the stench, oh, the stench! Must get fresh air, I choked. I headed for the window. On the way, I slipped and twisted my ankle. Oh, what else could go wrong today? I lay on the floor whimpering while Cheesy Lau bandaged my ankle. "Jerry, I had a feeling you still needed my help," she said. She dried her hair with a rag. She then lifted me up and dropped me on it. I was amazed. I mean, I'm not a scrawny rodent. In fact, some might say I need to lay off the cheesecake for a while. How could Cheesy Lau lift a plump mouse like me? Where I come from, we're all into athletics, she explained. Yes, sirree, Cheesy Lau just loves lifting cows. Singing happily, Cheesy Lau sprang into action. She grabbed some rags and wiped the filthy, slimy water. She washed the sofas, she hosed down the walls, she hung out the rugs to dry. I'd never seen a mouse work so fast. It was like watching a mini tornado. Yes, that Cheesy Lau had more energy in her little paw than I had in my whole body. Finally, Cheesy Lau flung open all the windows. Fresh air filled the room, and now for a quick spray of my favorite perfume, she giggled. Cream cheese in the summertime. Suddenly my entire house smelled like the most delicious cream cheese souffle. Life is beautiful, the world is marvelous, and I love everyone, Cheesy Lau squeaked. Come on, Jerry, sing along. 4 p.m. Galloping through the streets of New Now City. It was 4 o'clock. Life is beautiful, the world is marvelous, and I love everyone, I repeated. I was starting to feel better already. Maybe Cheesy Lau's grandmother was onto something. At that moment the phone rang. As I reached over to answer it, I heard a loud rip. Rats! I had split the seam in my favorite suit jacket. Then I felt a twig in my arm. Squeak! I had pulled a muscle in my paw. I knew I shouldn't have dropped off that weightlifting for wimps class at Rats La Lane. Geronimo Stilton, I grumbled into the phone. It was the baker. He said he couldn't deliver my big Valentine's Day order. I would have to pick it up. I sighed miserably. Cheesy Lau pulled my paw in his thing. I headed for my car. It wouldn't start. I tried to call a taxi, but there was none, of course. It was Valentine's Day. I began to sob like a newborn mouse. Or what else could go wrong today? Before I could find out, Cheesy Lau let out a high-pitched whistle. Seconds later, a black horse came galloping down the road. Cheesy Lau plunked me into the saddle, pulled on the right rein to turn right, to the left rein to turn left, and both reins to stop, she explained, and above all, keep calm. Whatever you do, don't act scared. If the horse smells you fair, no one will be able to control him. I felt faint. I felt sick. I felt the horse take off. When Cheesy Lau screeched off, "You go!" the horse galloped all the way to Squeakini's. "My order, please," I yelled to the baker as we burst through the door. He tossed me 3 enormous boxes, sent me the bill. I screeched as we sped away. The horse galloped back to my house. He flung me out of the saddle, then he took off. Oh well, I guess you get what you pay for, and the ride was free. I was so all over. Luckily the pastry boxes were safe. I headed for the kitchen to put them in the refrigerator. Just then, a ghostly figure leaped out at me. "Whelp!" I shrieked. "Don't hurt me." The boxes shook in my paws. "Oh, Geronimo, don't be such a scaredy mouse," the figure smirked. I blinked. It wasn't a ghost at all. It was my cousin Trapped. He was dressed in a white sheet in his paw. He held a bow and arrow. "What do you think of my Cupid costume, Cousin Kins?" Trapped chuckled. "Did I mention that my cousin is the biggest pest on the planet?" 5 p.m. Oops. My whiskers were twitching, my paws were shaking, my nerves were shot. I put the pastry boxes carefully down on the table and sank into a chair because Cheesy Lau brought me a cup of hot cocoa. "Do you like cocoa?" "I do. It's so warm and yummy and soothing." I closed my eyes. I was finally starting to relax. Then I heard a noise. Splat! Oops! My cousin's voice mumbled. My eyes snapped open. "Yo!" I shrieked. Trap had to sit on the boxes from Squeakini's, my mini gourmet pizzas, my pastries, and my heart-shaped cheesecake, I sobbed. I was so upset that I didn't see the icing on the floor. I slipped. I knocked over my Aunt Ratsy's priceless antique vase. It shattered into pieces. I lay next to it on the floor. Right at that moment, Cheesy Lau swung the door open. It hit me, smack in the snout. Little butterflies danced before my eyes. Pretty, I babbled. Then I fainted. When I opened my eyes, the first thing I saw was Trap. He was licking his whiskers. "Love the pastries, Berry," he squeaked with his mouth full. "You know, they're still good even though they're squished." Steam rose to my ears. "I can't serve squished pastries," I screamed. "Or what else could go wrong today?" Meanwhile, Cheesy Lau was very busy bandaging my black eye. "Sorry I hit you with the door," she apologized. "But don't you worry about a thing, darling, Cheesy Lau. We'll fix everything." Cheesy Lau picked up the phone and shouted into it. "That's right, I need 100 pounds of flour, 16 pounds of sugar, 24 pounds of butter, 130 eggs sent to 8 Basswood Lane on the double," she ordered. A few minutes later, 3 big rodents galloped up on the horses with the delivery. Cheesy Lau began measuring and mixing and baking. I should have guessed she would be a whirlwind in the kitchen. The mouse was good at everything. I wouldn't be surprised if she won a concert and a piano and an Olympic ice dancer too. Still, I had no idea what she was so busy making. Can I help you, Cheesy Lau?" I asked, watching her fill a pan with some type of batter. "No thanks, Jerry," she smiled. "You just relax. As for you, Trap, I'd like you to be a taste tester." My cousin was so excited that I could barely keep his paws on the ground, besides annoying me. That mouse's favorite thing to do was eat. A little while later, Cheesy Lau pulled an enormous pan out of the oven. It was a delicious-looking cake shaped like a heart. Trap licked his whiskers. He looked happier than a mouse in a cheesecake factory. 6 p.m. It was 6 o'clock. I was thrilled with Cheesy Lau's cake. It was a lot of work. Now I had dessert, but what would I feed my guests for dinner? Just then, I heard Trap whisper into his cell phone. He was mumbling something about tomatoes and mozzarella and flour. I guess my cousin liked talking about food as much as he liked eating. I was still worrying about my dinner party when I heard a strange buzzing sound. It seemed to be coming from the heart-shaped mini lights I hung as decorations. They looked so pretty. I hit the switch to turn them on. Bzzz. I was zapped with an electric shock. My whole body shook. My fur stood on end. I lit it up like my Aunt Matilda's Christmas tree. She always overdoes it with the lights, but that's another story. Suddenly the whole house went dark, very dark. Cheese niblets, our fuse must have blown out. Do you know what a fuse is? It helps run electricity in your house. Just then a tiny light appeared behind me. It was Cheesy Lau. Just had a flashlight in her paw. "Relax, Sherry. I'll take care of it," she said. "I'll check out the fuse box in your basement. But you really should be more careful, darling. Electricity can be more dangerous than an angry cow." She quickly bandaged my paw. I was still shaking. What else could go wrong today? I followed Cheesy Lau down to the basement. A few minutes later, the lights blinked back on. "All fixed," grinned Cheesy Lau. I was amazed. Was there anything Cheesy Lau couldn't do? "It's fun to learn new things," Cheesy Lau said. "I learned all about fixing electrical problems from my grandfather Buzzy. Yep, he sure taught me how to light up a room." Buzzy Sweetsnout is Cheesy Lau's grandfather. 7 p.m. Nobody loves me. It was 7 o'clock, party time, but no one knocked on the door. Tears filled my eyes. I was all alone. "Oh, what a rotten, awful day. Nobody loves me," I sobbed. "Nobody wants to come to my party." Before long, the lights went out again. Now what, I whined. Oh, what else could go wrong today? Suddenly, a light appeared again in the darkness. "Uh-oh," I gulped. Was it a ghost carrying a candle? I've heard some ghosts are afraid of the dark. "Cheesy Lau," I squeaked. "Trap?" No one answered. Then one more flickering light began to light up my room. More ghosts! My heart hammered under my fur. "Don't hurt me," I stammered. "I come in peace." Just then, I took a good look on the faces surrounding me. No, they weren't ghosts. They were all my friends. "Happy Valentine's Day, Geronimo," they shouted. "Geronimo, we all love you." 8 p.m. A little surprised. I was shocked, but why? I babbled. My friend Hercule, poor rat, jumped out from behind the sofa. "We were trying to organize a little surprise for you," Stilton beamed. "What do you think?" I was so touched I couldn't even squeak. I felt like the richest mouse in the world. Friendship really is a treasure. Right then my cousin Trap came in pushing a wheelbarrow. It was filled with Valentine's Day's hearts, boxes and flowers. "Special delivery, Geronimoid," he announced. Tears sprang to my eyes, partly because I was so happy and partly because Trap had run over my paw with a wheelbarrow. Youch! Happy Valentine's Day! I reached into the barrel and pulled out a card addressed to Uncle Geronimo. It was a poem from my favorite nephew Benjamin. I gave him a big hug. "This is the best gift I've ever received." "For Uncle Geronimo. You're the best uncle ever. You're so very clever. I love you so much more than you know. I'll love you forever and ever. Love, Benjamin." A giant pizza. I was still thinking about Benjamin's poem when I heard someone whining. It was my grandfather William. I wasn't surprised. Grandfather William was always the grumbling type. I thought you were having a pizza at this party, he complained. Before I could reply, my cousin Trap grabbed my paw. He dragged me into the kitchen. What now, I groaned. Had Trap eaten all of Cheesy Lau's cake? Had he set my toaster on fire? I closed my eyes, expecting the worst, but when I opened, I saw the most delicious sight. It was a huge, mega pizza in the shape of a heart. Ta-da! Trap shouted. What do you think, Jerrykins? Can I make a pizza or what? He cut a large slice of pizza, then everyone cheered as my cousin devoured the whole thing in 2 bites. How pizza was invented. Thousands of years ago, the Assyrians and the Babylonians made a kind of pizza with oat flour and water. It was only in the 1700s that pizza, as we know it, was born. The people of Naples, Italy, invented it, and it became very popular there. In 1889, King Umberto I and Queen Margherita of Italy went to Naples and tasted a pizza topped with tomatoes and mozzarella cheese. The Queen liked it so much that from then on, the kind of pizza was called Pizza Margherita. In the early 1900s, immigrant Neapolitans brought pizza with them to all different sides of the world. It was 9 o'clock. There was a message blinking on my phone. Uh-oh. Something told me it wasn't good news. Had I forgotten to return my library books? Did my plants need water down at the Rodents Gazette? No, it was the band. They'd missed the plane, now they would miss my party. I covered my eyes with the paw. Oh, why did I have such rotten luck? Where am I going to find a band at 9 o'clock on Valentine's Day? I cried. Just then, Cheesy Lau pulled out a business card. She waved it under my snout. Today must be your lucky day, Jerry, darling, she chuckled. I read the card. Cheesy Lau, sweet snout, professional country music singer. My jaw hit the ground. I don't know why I was so surprised that Cheesy Lau had more talents than a veteran circus rat. You're a professional singer, I asked. Country music. The type of music is rooted in the folk traditions of British Isles and became popular in the western and southern United States. It often features fiddles, banjos, and guitars. Today, country songs are usually about love, family, friendship, nature, and memories. Cheesy Lau was already making a phone call. Girls, come on over to 8 Mouseford Lane. We've got a gig, she squeaked. A few minutes later, 2 charming rodents appeared. Hi friends, I'm Cheesy Lee, and I'm Cheesy Lin. Cheesy Lee played the guitar, Cheesy Lim played the banjo, and Cheesy Lau played the fiddle. It was a paw-stomping country music concert. The band even taught everyone how to line dance, but not everyone. I stepped on my tail so many times that I eventually decided to just watch. Did I mention I'm a little on the clumsy side? 10 p.m. A horse in my living room. It was 10 o'clock. The party was in full swing. Rodents were talking and laughing and eating. I sat on the sofa watching my guests. I saw Trap stuffing his face with cake. I saw Benjamin dancing with his friend Sniblet. I saw an enormous white horse galloping through my open window. Rat munching rattlesnakes. What was a horse doing in my living room? On the horse's back was a rodent with frightened muscles. Pleased to meet you, Jerry, the mouse dawdled. I'm Tall Rat, McBeefy, Cheesy Lau's fiancé. Thanks for inviting me to your party, he smiled. I shook my paw. Normally I have a rule, no horses in the living room, but Tall Rat seemed to be like a friendly kind of rodent. Plus, his grip nearly broke every bone in my paw. I couldn't wait to think about what he could do to me if he got angry. Thanks for the invite. I watched as Tall Rat lassoed himself a piece of cake and glass of orange juice. Meanwhile, his horse was munching away at my houseplant. A horse in my living room, I thought to myself. Oh, what else could go wrong today? 11 p.m. Ding dong. It was 11 o'clock. The doorbell rang. What else could it be? All my friends had already arrived. Who is it? I asked before opening the door. Open up, Stilton, a familiar voice barked. I opened the door. Holy cheese, it was my worst enemy, Sally Ratmousen. Oh, hello, Sally, I squeaked in surprise. She nodded. Listen, Stilton, she said. I've been thinking, maybe the News Express should keep delivering your paper after all. Every mouse knows my paper is better than the Rodents Gazette anyways. I was really shocked. Sally Ratmousen never does anything nice. Even her mother says so. What great news! Thanks, Sally. That's amazing. That's wonderful. I babbled. Sally put her paw in the air. Enough chit-chat, Stilton. I need to ask you something, she said. I gulped. I should have known there was a catch. What does Sally want now? My money? My precious set of Encyclopedia Britannica? My vital organs? But I was wrong. All Sally wanted was an invitation. That's right, my worst enemy wanted to come to my Valentine's Day party. What do you think I did? Of course I invited her inside. One thing you should know about me, I, Geronimo Stilton, am a gentle mouse. I never hold a grudge, and Everyone knows Valentine's Day is a day to show your love towards others. I gave Sally a box of chocolate cheesy chews. She gobbled them down in minutes. No, Sally, a rat mouse, and wasn't the nicest mouse on the block, but I guess she could still be my friend. Now, if I could just teach her how to chew with her mouth closed. Midnight. An endless supply of cheese. It was midnight. My guests were getting ready to go home. Wait, everyone, I have a great idea, Pinky Pick called. Do you know Pinky? She's my young editorial assistant. She's very creative. Pinky gave everyone a piece of paper. Let's each write a Valentine's Day wish and attach it to a balloon. Then we can send our wishes up into the sky, she explained. I wish for world peace, I wrote. I wish for love and happiness. For all rodents, Benjamin wrote. I wish for an endless supply of cheese, Trap wrote. We stood back and watched our balloons into the sky. Purple, yellow, orange, pink, each balloon carried out Valentine's Day wishes out into the clouds. Holy cheese, what a magical sight. I thought about how amazing it would be if our wishes really did come true. The world would be so beautiful and wonderful, peaceful place. Every rodent would find love and happiness. And oh yes, there would always be lots of cheese. Happy Valentine's Day.